Hello, Bouncy.
I'm not letting you introduce the show after last week. You see all the issues we had?
No.
That's what happened. You introduced the show. Spreaker broke. RSS feed collapsed. I got blocked out of everything.
This sounds like user error to me.
Well, and then somebody had the audacity to enter a competition before the closing date, and our email didn't update either. So then I had to very carefully edit in their name. And I don't think you can tell.
You can't.
I think, so well done to Paul. That's very good. We're having some first screenshots coming through from people as well, which is nice. It's nice that they're actually playing the game they applied for.
I think Gav has chosen to be the Charlotte Checkers as well.
Right, is that a real thing?
Yeah, they're a real team.
Oh, it doesn't sound like a real thing. That's the thing, because he said there was two teams that he'd played. One, obviously, who he played against. And I did look at it and think, if that was me, and this might be where their strength is, because it's Sports Interactive, isn't it? Their strength might come from the fact that unless you're really into ice hockey, you wouldn't know necessarily whether those teams are real names or not.
True.
So that early access stuff, that's quite good because they don't need the license. Because you could go the New York Iced Teas. Don't know. Long Island Iced Teas. That would have been correct.
They did have these strange variants on because of the early access.
Yeah.
The NHL teams were like the Long Islanders instead of the New York Islanders.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, no, I think it was the Orlando Solar Bears he beat.
Which again is a completely ridiculous name.
I just like that their logo, I don't know if it still does, but it certainly used to look a lot like the bear on Cresta Lemonade, if you remember that from probably about 20 years ago.
I used to buy that on my lunch break.
About 10p a bottle.
Yeah, 2 litre bottle of that I'd get, which was like 29p. And one day I downed an entire 2 litre bottle, and the carbon dioxide in the bottle gave me a sensation I can only describe as incredible pain. And I passed out from it. And
what a 29p.
All my friends said happened was I passed out, hit the ground, and then lemonade just started coming out of my mouth on its own accord.
Huh.
So, that's what happens if you down 2 litres of lemonade.
Is that why they took it off the market?
I don't think it's specific to Cresta. I think it's more, I shouldn't have drank that much.
That used to be everywhere, and then just disappeared overnight.
I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. This is a midweek episode.
Yes.
So, last week, we had one episode over a fortnight.
Yes. Didn't
go
well.
This week we're going to have 2. So over the whole week there'll be 3 episodes.
Yes.
But it's a Marvel special because we attended something rather amazing.
We did.
Rather astonishing.
True.
And rather another prefix for a Marvel comic.
Yes. Mighty.
Incredible. Yeah. We went to see a movie marathon. We'll come more to that in a bit. We're also going to look at what's next for Marvel.
Yep.
So the next few films in the series, and because I think there's a bit of a hump they're going to have to get over now.
Yep.
But we'll come to that.
We'll come to that.
I've been playing a couple of iOS Marvel games while sitting in a car outside strangers' houses this week. We're going to be playing a quiz where you might get to wear this inflatable crown, which denotes whether you know the difference between X-Men or Sex-Men.
Right.
We've got a little chunk of Marvel news, some discussion about what Marvel games we'd like to see, and some of the best Marvel games that have been out. All in all, marvellous!
Hey!
I had to get it in there somewhere. So, let's have a jingle. I made a jingle there.
Yeah.
I might keep that in.
You should.
It was very good. Although it is slightly close to Rolf Harris's thing from Rolf's Cartoon Club.
True.
If I'd have gone...
That would have
been creepy. Somebody was talking the other day about Madame Two Swords.
Right.
They've got rid of Jimmy Savile's waxwork.
Weird that.
And they said that they couldn't put it in the Chamber of Horrors because he's more evil than Hitler. Which, it's a bit of a... because Hitler's there.
Yeah.
But is Jimmy Savile more evil than Hitler?
I think you could probably make a case for having them side by side.
Yeah. It was a very odd one. Apparently, Rolf Harris has also been ushered out, but they didn't. Didn't put a news story in about that one. So anyway, X-Men, Avengers, Marvel marathon.
Snickers.
Yeah. So we went to the Luxe Cinema in Wisbech.
We did,
which is our favourite cinema,
hands down.
They basically just said we're going to do a marathon.
They did.
They showed Avengers Assemble.
Yep.
Or if you're in America, the Avengers. They had Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And then we had Avengers Age of Ultron.
We did.
Which had a really rubbish title thing of Avengers Age of Ultron. I
thought. It was a strange fade.
Yeah, it was kind of a lot of them. I mean, particularly after, I think after watching the end credits of Captain America: Winter Soldier, which got that really cool kind of.
That is awesome. I love that art style. I actually want some of those frames just as pictures to go on the wall.
After that, and then you watch, and after the amazing opening from Age of Ultron, that was it was almost like, oh, we spent all of our budget on making the Hulk's nipples look realistic. We haven't done the title. Oh, just some words. That'll do. That's all it was. So, but yeah. So, what did you think, Rob? Ultron. Let's just very briefly, because we don't want to go to spoilers. But
no, I really enjoyed it. I did do a little review for the blog, which people can find at lowercourse.co.uk.
Yeah, and on Tumblr as well.
Yes, I'm on Tumblr now. And I have tried my damnedest to avoid spoilers. I think generally I have done so. Yeah. Dr. Hamhook certainly gave me the thumbs up for avoiding said spoilers.
Which you don't want, do you?
No, you don't want that.
Is the MacBook broken?
Oh, it's fine, it's just gone to sleep. There we go.
I thought you had a coffee app.
Yeah, I just haven't put it on.
That.
There we go. Seamless. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I would put it marginally ahead of Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
The pacing was, I thought, incredibly fast. Just to put it simply. The down or slower, quieter moments, everyone put it, were slightly stilted for me. I think they needed to be there because it was so ferociously paced, even over 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Are we talking the flashback sequences or the safe house sequences?
The safe house one mainly.
Yeah, I think the safe house it was essential, but it just came at the wrong time. I think
it just fell a little bit flat for me personally.
But that's because I think it's such a bombastic movie.
Yeah,
anything they'd have done.
You see, I think I wouldn't use the word bombastic. I used this in the blog and said it could be more bombastic. Given what they did with Avengers Assemble...
Was it semi-fantastic?
Given what they had with Avengers Assemble, and you basically had an alien army attacking New York, they could have been ridiculously over the top with this one. And granted, it's a Marvel film, so it is kind of over the top just by its very definition.
Yeah.
But I could have been a lot more outlandish. I thought it was quite well contained.
I had a conversation with somebody who saw the film this weekend, and they said that they thought the ending was absolutely ridiculous and totally unbelievable. And I said, what about the giant green man punching buildings down and the man who can fly in a robot? Said, oh yeah, but that's normal. Like, all of it's normal for a comic book movie.
Was this a customer at your shop?
Yeah, of course it was.
How many evil sentient artificial intelligence has he released into the community this week?
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, for me, the only two things I could criticise him for, I thought the flashbacks were a good idea, but they weren't given enough. Because they were supposed to be this idea of this is what motivates them. This is what has created their character flaws and strengths. But with the exception, really, of... I mean, Captain America's is left very, very vague.
Yeah.
To the point where you think...
See, I don't mind the vagueness in a sense, because you can let your own mind interpret those.
Yeah.
The one that was slightly odd for me, again, trying to avoid spoilers, was Thor's one. Because I didn't think that had enough room to breathe.
Well, I think that is... harping to Ragnarok.
It is.
So I think,
and that's the Marvel way. A lot of these things.
But the problem is they sort of suggested it was a flashback, and then in essence it was a flash forward for him and a flash forward for Tony.
Yep.
So it was a bit of a weird way to. I think they're essential, but I just feel they deserve. If there was going to be anything, I'd rather have more of those and slightly less of the safe house. Just to kind of give, because I want to see that part of it. You know, these, particularly with Black Widow, Hawkeye, we haven't had origins for them.
No, and Hawkeye was much more prominent in this film.
Hawkeye was brilliant in this film.
I like Jeremy Renner's Hawkeye.
The first one, because obviously with him being under control of Loki for the majority of the film, he didn't get a chance to shine.
He was a bit of a fringe character.
Hawkeye's not the best Avenger, but he was certainly given as good a fighting chance as anyone in this.
And the other thing is, in some of the older comic books, he did play a pivotal role. Yes. The Korvac saga.
Oh, yeah.
And things like that.
It's and that's the thing. I think he's got some of the best dialogue, particularly his interactions with Quicksilver are brilliant. Quicksilver is fantastic. Totally blew away any image of the Days of Future Past version.
Yeah.
So that's a win for Avengers, because obviously
they've created the separation.
Yeah. But I think Jerome's had a really, really good opportunity in this one. The other issue I have is a lot of the action sequences move too quickly. Like the Hulkbuster versus Hulk fight, there was a lot of scenes where you'll just saw a red and orange blur fly past. I like it when, like in the opening sequence, which is in the trailer, that bit where it slows for each other as they all kind of charge forward.
Yeah.
And it goes off. I wanted a bit more of that. I know it's a bit cliche to have this cinematic slow-mo.
The bullet time thing.
But if somebody's putting a lot of effort into a sequence, I want to see it.
Mm.
And there was a lot, because I watched it again. I watched it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the second time round, I was looking to try and pick out little bits of detail. Like if you watch Transformers, when I'm just trying first Transformers, you're seeing everything locking into place. That's an effect shot that's got hundreds of effect shots all rammed in together. And they take time to say, look, this is how it works. A criticism of Jurassic World this week, someone wrote an article that was very interesting. It said they're worried about Jurassic World because of the lack of animatronics.
Right.
And they said that the charm of Jurassic Park was the fact that it was the dawn of CGI and the demise of animatronics.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a bit of a weird thing to say because the two complemented each other. You don't need the animatronics now like you did in 1993. But I think with Ultron there were, and I will, it's mostly in the Hulk scene, but even in that opening sequence it was a little bit too quick and a bit too fluid. It was brilliant to watch, but I wanted to see a little bit more detail. But they are very minor niggles in what was a very, very good film. We'll have to give it a few weeks and then probably go through and do a spoiler one, because it would be nice to see what some of the listeners have thought when they've seen it. But it was nice to watch Avengers Assemble on the big screen again.
It was, definitely.
Because it's been a while since I've watched that.
Me and Emma watch it quite regularly. It was good to see it on the big screen again.
Well, what I was interested in is Emma didn't need her cushion, her pillow in the end.
Well, she just stole my hoodie and used that as a cushion.
Well, but you know, I thought she was planning on going to sleep or something.
Well, yeah.
At one point, and then it was like, oh, we're up. I managed to go for a walk to the pub.
You did?
Just before
Just use their toilet and come back again.
Well, I also needed to stretch my legs, and there was a bit of a queue. And the pub was only 2 minutes away, so I thought that'll stretch my legs and avoid the queue. So I walked upstairs, went to the toilet, walked straight back down, waved at the staff as if to say, ha, I didn't even buy a drink. Straight out again. And you wouldn't have even known, would you?
No.
So,
apart from the photo where you're barred at the pub now.
I doubt it. They put on hot food as well, which was nice.
Yep.
So it was very good of them. I got harangued by one of the staff members who mocked me for wearing a Star Wars t-shirt.
Yep.
I pointed out that Marvel produced Star Wars comics and that Disney owns them both. So, in your face, cinema lady.
Yep.
I told her that as well, didn't I? Up your game, I think I said.
Up your game.
Up your game. I went in on Saturday, and she was in there, and so was the assistant manager lady. And they were saying that I wore my Groot beer t-shirt. Right. They were like, that's better. I was like, don't start again. My girlfriend's with me. Don't make me feel this big again. I don't want to feel like Ant-Man. Well, at least you know what Ant-Man is. It's not some Yoda or something. I was like, all right. Right, go to your favourite cinema and get bullied. But yeah,
it was the experience.
It was. I think they were the right three films to be chosen. I think Marvel have pushed it out as a screening trio because I think obviously Avengers is the rise of S.H.I.E.L.D., Captain America is the demise of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then Ultron is the rise of the Avengers. And again, we can't really say too much.
Plus, Winter Soldier's probably the best of the rest of those films.
Yeah, and I think,
in my opinion,
also Captain America, with Civil War coming up, is the linchpin for a lot of what's going to happen. Yeah. So I think giving him, because with Avengers, it was kind of him adjusting to a new world.
Yeah.
Then you had Winter Soldier as him adjusting to the wrong things in the world. And then you've got this one, which allows him to really find his feet. And again, you know, it was nice to see the cast together. Ultron is fantastic. James Spader is the perfect person for the role.
Yeah, I thought he brought the character to life brilliantly.
I was worried a little bit about how his personality would have come across. They've put enough of Tony Stark into him to make it work brilliantly. There's an amazing bit of dialogue where he's describing that people design the thing they fear the most. And he was talking about children. He goes, smaller people. And he goes, children. God, the word escaped me for a moment there. And it's those little things that are just... That's when the script was incredibly tight. And I said, it's between him, Tony Stark, and his constant little hey moments, and Captain America making sure that the 12 rating doesn't get beaten by the amount of swear words in the film. It's a very tightly scripted film. But, obviously, we will see what other people think, particularly America, who haven't got it yet, which is
unusual
nice
for us.
Well, I think Avengers came out early here as well, if I remember correctly. I think we also had that like a week early. So it is nice to see something first. And to see so it's this big as well.
Yeah.
And it's not really a British film. That was very good. So, all in all, a very nice evening.
Yes, agreed. No.
15 quid well spent.
Certainly.
So, yeah. And if you're in the Cambridgeshire area, you can do a lot worse than visiting the Luxe in Wisbech. And if you're coming along, let us know, because we'll probably come and have a beer.
Yes.
Right. I've been sitting outside strangers' houses. That's what I said, didn't I?
Yes.
Now I'm going to quantify what I
Wasn't
mean.
creepy at all.
Well, my partner has started working as a neighbourhood courier, working for Yodel. And she doesn't know a lot of the areas in... Were you going to Yodel then?
No, I was going to say other couriers are available.
No, we can advertise Yodel. Yodel, the courier service of champions. Well, to a point. So, yeah, she's just started the job and doesn't know all the areas in Wisbech. And I'm very good at reading maps, and I know some of the areas because I lived in them.
Modest too.
So, yeah, very modest. So, basically, we found an app, which was the Road Warrior app.
Right.
It turns you into a true road warrior. Basically, what it does is you put your addresses of your deliveries, and it'll optimise the route.
Okay.
So you use as little fuel as possible. Which, if you're a neighbourhood courier, that's your money.
Perfect.
That's your profit.
Yep.
Yeah. So using that app, which was brilliant, and I loved it, and I would recommend it heartily to anyone who delivers things.
Do you feel a bit like Mad Max using the Road Warrior?
Do you know what? It's Road Warrior. What do you think the icon is for the app?
Is it the
Road
guy with the hockey
Warrior.
mask?
See, I thought something like that. No, it's a guy in a 1920s racing helmet with a scarf. I was like, not really a road warrior there, mate, are you? You're
Missed
like
opportunity there, I feel.
road gent or something
Road
like
gent.
that.
Dapper chap.
Yeah. But, yeah, so in between every time she went down somebody's driveway to deliver a parcel or to the neighbour when they weren't in, I had my phone with me and I was kind of trying to keep myself sharp because I need to... So I'd get the next parcel ready and I'd pick my phone up and I'd play one of two games.
Yes.
Which were either Marvel Contest Champions, which we talked about before,
Yep.
the fighting game, and Spider-Man Unlimited, which is kind of like Temple Run, Endless Runner.
Okay.
I tried to play it before on the iPad, but it just wouldn't run. The memory on it wasn't good enough. It runs beautifully on my phone. Contest of Champions has had Ultron take it over.
I saw it advertised.
Which-
I don't know if it was a promoted tweet or if it was on a website
Yeah,
I was perusing,
it's
but I did see that.
It's a nice little
Tie-in.
Yeah, it's timely. There's nothing on the Spider-Man one, but that makes sense because obviously Spider-Man's not part of that.
No.
Spider-Man instead has got... Oh, Christ, I forget what they are now. You'll know them because obviously being a bit into Spider-Man as well. Let me just find out who they were. But Contest Champions is very good. They did a tie-in with Daredevil TV series first. So they did the Hell's Kitchen missions. But now the Ultron one, they've actually created a whole storyline. They've even changed the icon to the Avengers as well. So they are going all out with this Ultron thing. So
Which makes sense given what's just
Well,
been released in cinema.
Well, see, I mean, they don't have to because Marvel, those games will be...
They'll sell
it's like
anyway,
Tapped Out. But, you know, if The Simpsons did a new movie, you'd expect Tapped Out to tie into it, just as with this. Right, it's
Cross-promotion.
Spider-Verse. Oh, the event's changed. That's not at all confusing.
This is riveting podcasting right now.
I can't remember. They're these people, but I can't remember what their names are. But they're from the more recent stuff. But yeah, so they do these storylines. I'll probably edit that out. So they've done a lot of storylines in the past where it's been, whether it's Madam Web or whatever, they'll just write a little storyline and it'll run for a few days and then they'll go through it. It's just a very good way of going through. They also have a thing similar to what they had in Assassin's Creed where you could send assassins off using the mobile app and get experience in the main game.
Yep.
Where you basically, you collect Spider-Men from different dimensions and then you've got a little team and you can send them off on a mission and they'll get XP when you're not doing anything, which is quite good with those sort of things. But both, absolutely astonishingly good for a free app each. I haven't paid anything on Spider-Man Unlimited. I did buy a starter pack on Contest Champions just because my kids wanted to see what was in it.
Yep.
And it was about £1.50. And I thought I'd already had a month out of it by that point, so I don't mind. So if you're into Marvel, you want something on your phone, both of those are essential. Now, Phase 3.
Yes.
That's where we are now with Marvel.
almost Ant-Man is technically phase 2,
but we're on the cusp of it.
I think Age of Ultron. Again, I put this in the blog. I think Age of Ultron is the springboard to phase 3. Yeah, really. Yeah. Regardless of Ant-Man being in that bracket.
I think Ant-Man's off to the side.
Yeah.
I was reading a feature which was talking about their plans for Civil War, and they said Civil War, as far as they're concerned, is Ultron 2.5, is Avengers 2.5.
Yep.
So everything that happens in Ultron goes straight into
Captain America 3.
Yep. So we've got Ant-Man this year, Captain America 3 next year.
Yep, May next year.
Then Doctor Strange, I think in November.
I thought it was September, but it's about there end. Yep.
And then we've got the Spider-Man and Guardians 2 also coming out. Now, as I said earlier, a bit of a hump. I think Doctor Strange and Ant-Man are going to be the ones that Marvel will struggle with.
Why?
Well, Doctor Strange in particular, but with Ant-Man, although the new trailer has relaxed me a little bit about it, I do still think it is slightly off of what people know about Marvel. Now, we had this with Guardians.
That's what I was just going to say.
Guardians was a world away.
Yep.
So what Ant-Man's asking to believe is, here's another thing that's also happening in this same city. And that's the slight issue. We talked about this before, I don't know if it was on the show, where I would have liked them to have put Hank Pym using the Ant-Man suit in the Battle of New York somewhere. Yeah. Even if it was just a blink or miss cameo, just to say Ant-Man will be in a future thing. Because they know they're coming through. They mentioned Stephen Strange in Winter Soldier. So it was like, well,
that's what I love about the Marvel films, the way they will intertwine those little references.
But the thing is, the Battle of New York, any existing hero at that point should have been there. That's the bit that makes it difficult. Because that was a huge... Like, to sit there and say, well, the Fantastic Four wouldn't have flown out the Baxter Building. Of course they would, if they exist, which they don't now, because there's a different version of them. But there should have been some reference to all those people from the Baxter Building are doing their thing. Or there's Charles and his school doing... Just, I know they have to be careful what they refer to.
Yeah.
But that's the one issue I have with the Marvel Universe, where it isn't really a universe. And I kind of wish, particularly with the Battle of New York, that they'd allowed a little bit more reference to bleed in. Just a tiny amount, just like a flying character in the background. Like I did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where you just see Iron Man fly over.
Yeah, the thing is with... what was Avengers Assemble, 2012, 2013?
I'd say 12.
So that's a small reference to Ant-Man 3 years ago that probably won't resonate with a lot of people other than fans of Marvel.
But also Ant-Man being an Avenger.
But that's what they're teeing up, surely, with this film.
Yeah.
And Civil War and Infinity War.
No, I know. But it's that issue of him being an older guy.
But you can explain that away in a sense. But again, this is hearsay and conjecture, because obviously we don't know what's going to happen in Ant-Man yet. But they could say, or have it as Hank Pym sees the events in New York on the news.
Yep.
Obviously he's too old to do anything about it now. And then it's kind of, that's his moment where I need to do something. This is real. This is happening. This isn't just petty crime and stuff. This is serious shit.
Yeah.
And that's what spurs him into, seeking out Scott Lang and the events of Ant-Man.
I think it's one of those things. When it first was announced that Edgar Wright had walked away from it, I got worried. Then the first trailer came out, and I thought
it was a little flat,
distinctly lacking anything that Edgar Wright would have done. And then the new trailer has elements that you think Edgar Wright would have done, and that's good as long as it's got those in, because humour is important to a Marvel film. Like Ultron, humour runs straight through it.
Oh yeah,
it's as funny as ever anything else has been. Well, not anything else, like old people falling on escalators. It's not as funny as that.
All right.
Or toddlers when they have those ride-on scooters and they hit something and go over the handlebar. See? It's funny, isn't it? Or when a monkey picks its bum and snips it or something. That's always very funny as well. But Ant-Man, I just think is going to be the hardest sell. I think it might fall under Iron Man 2 radar, where it's not quite the great Marvel film. Because Iron Man 2 is good, but it's not great.
But you could say the same with the first Captain America, potentially. I like it, but a lot of people are a bit... And even the first Thor.
Yeah. Well, no, that's it. But that's the thing. Like, I think the problem is the last one's been so polished that to have a new entry one is going to be a dip. And again with Doctor Strange, because that is a very weird world, and he very often he'll sit as a kind of side character in a lot of stories, because really having a house that's full of dimensional portals, and it's cool and it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah.
But it's going to, again, it has to be done in a way almost like Guardians did, where it's referential enough to make it feel like you're okay. This is all new, but there's enough there to ground you in it. So I'm looking forward to that. Civil War is the biggie, even though
of course.
They've announced now that Hulk isn't in it.
No, but Elizabeth Olsen is reprising her role as Scarlet Witch.
Yes. So Hulk not being there ties in with something that we're going to be talking about later, about Ultron. But there was a lot of conjecture that at the end of Ultron, Hulk was going to be blasted into space, and that he would be a villain in a Planet Hulk scenario against the Guardians, which would have been quite good. But they
basically dismissed
they have
Hulk films at this point.
Yeah, that's it. They because there is all sorts of issues with licensing with Universal, because they have the rights to independently made
Hulk films,
even though Marvel made a Hulk film with them, which is very confusing.
Yeah, it's that whole weird web of
And Abomination was going to be in Ultron as well, and Tim Roth was happy to come back and play the character, which would have been great, but never mind, maybe next time. So yeah, we've got rumours now that Civil War is going to be kicked off, because we talked when we had a long chat about it, and I said about it would be nice if they introduced the characters that started Civil War in the comics in something else. Apparently now it's going to be sort of the bad guys pulled out at the end of Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
he's going to become Crossbones, and he will do something. And
to be fair, the Rumlow was Crossbones.
Yeah.
Alias anyway, so they've obviously teed that up, and again Agent 13 was in there as well, so you've got those tee-ups to go with it.
And I think even if he just did something to try and get at Captain America without the reality TV show setup that was in the case, that anything would cast it through. So yeah, I think that's Civil War is the biggie. I think Ant-Man is a kind of a stopgap really, so they can just sort of step back and make a cool little film.
Yeah, but as I said before, Ant-Man and Doctor Strange for me are, again, I'm using the reference again, teeing those guys up for a larger role. It's Infinity Wars. We all know that's where this is heading.
Yeah.
Which is going to apparently take 9 months to shoot, Infinity Wars Part 1 and 2.
Which is fine.
That doesn't surprise me. It took, 2 years to do the Hobbit films?
Yeah.
Something like that. So, it doesn't surprise me.
And I want them to do it right.
Yeah.
Because that's the end.
Oh yeah, all this build up. And,
and that needs to be right. I went to the doctor on Friday because I've been suffering a few ailments, and he said, do you have any issues of heart disease? Or I was like, yeah, do have that, and family have had strokes. And he's like, well, you really need to find something to motivate you to live for. I went, Infinity Wars, yeah. Marvel and Disney both. Well, when Disney brought out that image I retweeted the other week of all the films they've got coming out for the next 5 years, I was just like, I need to stay alive for 5 years at the very least. So yeah, health kick. But yeah, it's Spider-Man again is another biggie. A very interesting one to see how that pans out.
Yeah,
because
we know nothing about it apart from the release date, basically.
And that's good, because I want to see what Marvel do with their own property. That's the thing I want to see what they do. We now know it is going to be Peter Parker and not Miles Morales, which is great.
That surprised me a little bit, though.
Well, I think, again, it comes into this thing of the Marvel movies work well when they're not just for the fans.
Yeah.
And that's the point. Like, if you had...
They are accessible to a much wider audience.
Like a teenage black actor playing Spider-Man, a lot of people would be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
this is political correctness gone mad. They can't have Bar Black Sheep, and now we've got bloody Black Spider-Man. Don't just take the crown. This is not Game of Thrones,
You got so angry about Black Spider-Man, the crown drooped.
No, I'm not angry about Black Spider-Man. What I'm saying is people might find it a bit too much of a jump.
Yeah, no, fair.
And so, I would like to see them maybe do a couple of Peter Parker films and then maybe bring either Miles Morales or 2099 Ben Reilly. Ben Reilly?
Yes.
Yeah, Uncle Ben.
Yes.
So, I'd like to see those. And then obviously Guardians 2 is the other one to be very excited about.
Black Panther.
from Wakanda.
Wakanda.
That was the line for the film.
Yeah.
British band.
Waka waka waka.
Waka waka waka. And we've seen the villain from that now.
Yep.
Or suggested we've seen the villain from that now.
I think that was widely known from the trailers. That's
Yeah.
where that was leading.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything.
No,
Andy Serkis as Claw.
Ulysses Claw, yeah.
And they made two links, didn't they? One was the vibranium, and one was the mark on his neck for being a thief. So that's exciting again. But obviously, without Storm, I would be intrigued to see how the whole Black Panther thing works, unless they can work out some agreement again for 20th Century Fox. Or maybe Disney should just buy 20th Century Fox because they've got enough money to do it. Yeah, just go, look, stop mucking us about. We want a film which has got the Avengers, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four in it. Shut up. And Sony, you can pack it in. We've got our own Spider-Man now, so you can just do what you like. And Universal, we've got a Hulk. And so that's an Avengers line.
Yeah, it was. Well done.
But yeah, it is. There's a lot of good films coming.
Yes.
It's very unusual to have such a lot of films lined up from a studio. Like normally they're
It's nice to see that there is that plan in place, though.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get the feeling it's like, we're going to do Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, it's done really well. Yeah, we'll do another Superman. And then we'll see how that does. Great, the sequel did really well. Let's do it. And you don't always feel like there's a massive overarching plan for these films.
I think now the Justice League stuff.
Oh yeah,
seems to be there.
Sorry, it's probably a bad example given what's coming.
No, but I mean, not Man of Steel, Superman Returns didn't do massively well critically, but it was an alright film. Now, though, obviously, since Dark Knight trilogy, there's been that not necessarily, but certainly there's an audience for a darker comic series. And Marvel and DC have always been that. Marvel's the big, bright coloured one.
Joss Whedon referenced that in an interview. Obviously, they're doing the press tour for Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
And he referenced that as well. Because they said, one of the questions was, would you like to do any DC films? Obviously, he said, well, Batman. The most obvious answer in the world, Batman. But he referenced the difference between the two.
Yeah. Well, also, this week we had, it's not Marvel related, but the Joker from Suicide Squad was revealed to the internet to anger from people.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's contemporary, it's a little bit different, which I like because it separates Jared Leto from Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson.
And also, this is the thing, like, I don't know how much you know of the Suicide Squad stuff.
I know the idea behind
Suicide Squad is one of my favourite DC things. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely rubbish characters.
Yeah.
But the reason is they can kill them whenever they want.
Yeah. Nobody's overly...
Yeah, you couldn't really do that easily with, like, say, the big prime Silver Age Avengers. Like, they would survive. But you've got, like, characters like Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad. You're like, Captain Boomerang, he could literally die in this comic, and people won't really care, but it would add that threat.
Yeah.
Now, the Joker of the Suicide Squad scenario usually is in prison.
Yeah.
And the Joker that's been revealed is very much a prison Joker. Like, if you can't be theatrical, if you can't lay on these big elaborate things, what can he do?
Yeah.
And I like the idea. He's got on the back of his left hand, he's got the grin tattooed on his right arm.
Yeah.
So he can do that where he can like hold somebody to scream or panic, and he's got the smile. Or if he's choking someone, he's got the smile as well. So there's a lot of kind of little bits in there. But yeah, I don't understand the hatred, because it was the same when Heath Ledger's image was like, no, he's like, oh, fucking emo Joker. Now it's like, oh god, it's bloody
Marilyn Manson
Joker.
Joker.
Marilyn Manson. And it was like, well, it is a bit, but Marilyn Manson he chooses how he looks for an effect. Again, Joker does that for...
That's why I like it. As I said, it's different. It separates it from the Ledger and the Jack Nicholson Joker, which is great because otherwise you're going to end up with comparisons all the time.
And also,
he wasn't quite as good as Ledger. Oh, this, all that, and it's just like no, this is blatantly, completely separate, which is great. I think it's quite contemporary.
This is an actual conversation I had about this film.
Right.
Suicide Squad Joker's rubbish, said a customer. I was like, well,
it hasn't come out yet.
The film's going to be good though. I was like, I doubt it. He's never directed a good film yet. And I was like, Fury. He directed Fury. That was very good. He worked on Training Day and End of Watch. Very good films. No, it's not him. It's the guy who did 300. I went, it's not Zack Snyder. as far as he's concerned, only Zack Snyder is now making DC films. And he was like, no, it can't be any good. It'll just be full of loads of slow motion footage. Like, no, like there's an animated film, Assault on Arkham, which I've got on Blu-ray.
Yep.
And I will lend it to you.
Yes, please do. I keep meaning to borrow
I bought it to lend it to you. Because it was in the shop. It was a rental copy, and I bought the rental copy to lend out to people who were moaning about Joker in Suicide Squad. So I'm just going, look, watch this. 15 rated, DC original animated, and it's if they can get anywhere near that, it'll be an amazing film. But anyway, back to Marvel. There's a lot of good films. Now, I think it's time to put your knowledge of Marvel to the test here.
Okay.
Where you can probably win that inflatable crown,
right,
which you'll get to wear for the rest of the episode.
Excellent.
Now, this is what's called X-Men or Sex-Men. Now, I've been through it with you already.
Yes.
You know the rules.
Yes.
I'm going to read a list of names. You have to tell me whether they are sex-men, so they're porn stars,
right,
or they're X-Men, which is the secret identity of a variety of superheroes and heroines from DC and Marvel.
Okay.
Okay, you don't have to tell me who the hero is. Like, say it was, I don't know, Tony Stark.
Yep.
You wouldn't have to go Iron Man. You just go X-Men.
Yep.
Right. So we will start.
I've got confused. Tony Stark, X-Men. No, wait. No!
We've got about 30. So,
no, alright.
This is, do you know what? To get the names of all the porn stars, I did it at work, and I didn't realise that's probably not the thing to be Googling at work. I went to the top 100 most downloaded porn stars on the internet, and it was constantly loading pop-up windows in the background. I was like, oh yeah, you like... I was like, no, I'm doing proper research for an article here. So, let's play X-Men or Sex-Men. First up, Lexington Steele.
Porn star.
It is Sex-Man. Kathy Kane.
Kathy Kane. Sex-Man.
No, X-Man. Batwoman.
Oh.
Jim Barr.
Jim Barr. Sex-Man.
X-Man.
Really?
Bullet Man. Yeah.
I've never even heard of Bullet Man.
Doesn't matter. He could also be a sex star or a Bullet Man.
Right.
Katja Cassin.
I think that was an X-Man.
Sex-Man.
Is it?
Sylvia Saint.
Is that her real name, is it?
No, this is...
Oh, right.
It's a porn star.
Sorry, so I know Sylvia Saint's a porn star.
Sylvia Saint's a porn star. Kane Marco.
Juggernaut. X-Men.
Yeah. Chucky Ice.
Sex-Man.
It's a sex lady. John Baptiste.
The footballer.
Has he
That
done
was Alex John Baptiste, who's played for Blackpool. Sex-Man.
Is Sex-Man. Jack Ryder.
Jack Ryder. Now, this could be either. But legitimately could be either.
That's why I had to get a list. I had to find names that could be either.
I'm going to say Sex-Man.
X-Man. He played a hero called the Creeper. Dick Grayson.
That was Robin.
And Nightwing, yeah. Mandingo.
Mandingo. Sex-Man.
He's a Sex-Man. Gavin Fisher.
That's Postman Gav.
Yeah.
He's not an X-Man or a Sex-Man.
Well, there we go. God only knows is the official answer. Phoenix Marie.
X-Man.
Sex-Man. Stephen Rogers.
That's Captain America.
But he certainly does. Jubilation Lee.
Jubilee from X-Men.
Yeah. Kurt Lockwood.
I want to say that's an X-Man.
Sex-Man.
Sex-Man.
Angel Delight.
It's got to be Sex-Man,
It's a pudding. Oliver Queen.
Oliver Queen was the Green Arrow.
Yeah. Willie Walker.
It's just one of those trick ones where it's actually an X-Man. I'll go X-Man.
X-Man, played a character called the Black Racer. Aurora Snow.
That's Storm.
No.
Is it not?
It's Aurora
Monroe. Oh, no, it's Aurora Monroe.
Yeah,
so Sex-Man.
caught you out.
It did catch me out.
Brian Braddock.
Sex-Man.
X-Man, Captain Britain. Eric.
Of course.
Eric Everhard.
That's got to be Sex-Man.
Sex-Man. Penny Flame.
Penny Flame. I'll go Sex-Man.
Sex-Man. Carrie Kelly.
Again, that could genuinely be either. I'll go X-Man.
X-Man. It was the female Robin in the Dark Knight Returns. Patrick O'Brien.
Sex-Man.
X-Man. Plastic Man.
Ah.
Angel Dark.
Sex-Man.
Sex-Man. Brooke Banner.
Is that the She-Hulk? X-Man.
Sex-Man.
Ah.
Yeah. Kurt Wagner. Or Wagner, rather.
X-Man.
X-Man. Nightcrawler. And finally, Ben English.
Sex man.
Is a sex man.
Yeah.
You did quite well, but not well enough to get...
No, I'll pop the crown.
Yeah, you seem to enjoy that. Chocky Ice is my favourite. It's written CSOKY. And on the profile, it does say, pronounced Chocky. And I thought, I need to look at what this person looks like. Because I just imagined they'd look a bit like a Magnum ice cream.
just being erotically licked over and over.
But no, just quite normal looking. But yes, there you go. So if everybody at home you'd like to play along with X-Men or Sex Men, just go on the internet, look for the two and ask your significant
and then delete your browser history.
Yeah. But there you go, see? So who says I can't put together a feature within a couple of minutes' notice and at work? Just ruin it.
And then blame the part-timer who works on Saturday.
No, I take full responsibility. I do like the fact, though, that there are a lot of similarities between porn names and secret identities. It was... some of them were almost too close. I didn't even want to put them in. Or some of them were both.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned this.
Yeah, Steve Rogers is both as well. So, that was... I enjoyed that. Thank you very much. I thought... I know Gav will like hearing his name. He always likes hearing his name. Bastard. Right. This is the Marvel news. So Telltale have come out and announced they're making a game in 2 years' time.
Yes, and that is literally it. We got a big red square with the Marvel logo, the Telltale logo, and the numbers 2, 0, 1 and 7.
Yeah, it's... see, I have an issue with Telltale. I like the fact that they work on different franchises, but do they really need to announce things so early? Like, they don't need to. Either tell us what you're making or don't say anything. That's what I want. Because this could be this literally could be anything. It could be an Avengers interactive one. It could be... it could be Ben English with Aurora Snow. It could be anything. But we don't know. And I don't like that.
Yeah, it's so open-ended at this point. I mean, Civil War will have come and gone by that point.
Yeah.
As will Doctor Strange as well.
Yeah. Unless they could base it as minor characters in the Civil War arc. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
Like with Game of Thrones, it's stuff that's happening while other things are happening.
It is, and they did the same with The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So established characters do appear and interact.
Yeah.
So Glenn appeared in The Walking Dead, and obviously in Game of Thrones, Tyrion Lannister, Marjorie Tyrell. So there's things that tie in, but it is a separate story as well. Yeah. So they've got form with this kind of thing where they can interweave it with the wider MCU, but equally keep it separate. So it's a standalone.
Yeah.
Anybody could play, but it's that weird tie-in type point. And again, it's just so open-ended at the moment.
Yeah. The issue I have is how well, if there is any combat, it would work, because obviously superheroes is a lot faster paced, and the games don't tend to deal with pace very well. A lot of judgery issues. So we will see, but well done Telltale on jumping on a bandwagon before you finish everything else you're working on. Bastards. Marvel Films. Now, I was reading this article. I've sent it over. Marvel Film and Marvel TV.
Yes.
There seems to be this lovely thing of all these characters in TV referring to stuff in the film, and stuff in the film leading into the characters. Apparently, that's a false illusion. There's a lot of issues going on behind the scenes where Marvel seems to be not treating the TV people with a lot of respect.
It seems to be more that the two divisions, as they're continually called, are very much separate. Which was not, even to the point of even people like Joss Whedon, not the impression they were under when they signed up.
Here's an idea. We'll do an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series. Oh, by the way, in the films, that's gone now. Okay.
But you see, that kind of bit, you can, and they have kind of ridden over a little bit.
But they shouldn't have had to. It's almost like the
TV... know. I don't mind that.
But you'd have thought if they're going to plan a Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV series, they could have said before they produced it, this is what the intention is.
Yeah.
Rather than just go,
by the way,
you establish all this and build it all up, but by the way, you're now...
Yeah. See, I like that they reacted to the events of Winter Soldier in that way, and they've done it quite well, I think. But it has more and more noticeably moved away.
Spider-Man had it.
Oh, yeah.
Climbing the wall.
From the cinematic universe. like, noticeably further and further away.
Yeah.
Whereas the first series, there were references to Thor: The Dark World and the Battle of New York, and obviously at the start of the second series, strong references to the Winter Soldier because of the collapse of Shield.
Yeah.
But the second series of Agents of Shield has just drifted further and further away. But then that would be a knock-on of exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
They are effectively separate entities to the point where we've got people saying, well, as far as the films are concerned, Agent Coulson is dead.
Yeah.
But in the TV world, he's very much alive.
Yeah.
So, it's the fact they started along a similar road and have now gone different ways at the fork.
I want Daredevil in Civil War.
Yeah.
It has to be. I mean, he doesn't. Yeah, he should. But no, from my point of view, he's earned it now.
Yeah.
That series was phenomenal, and the fact that it's now made me excited about an Iron Fist TV series is a bloody well done thing, because I hate Iron Fist. Like, oh look, a man with a green and yellow outfit and his chest on show. Ooh, what's his power? Punch people.
Got a really hairy chest.
Ooh. Well, it's not very hairy, is it? The S logo.
Oh, he did.
Which they've shown the logo in Daredevil, so that's pulled in, and there is a woman who does like the palm punch thing. So like the fact that there's that, and I can't remember. I keep trying to remember the name. Is it the Unnaturals? The group that they form in New York.
Yes, I think.
And I think
so.
that's getting a series as well. So there's like these 3 TV shows that are going to feed into that, which is great. But I would love to see Daredevil in the movie.
Yeah,
because it's Kingpin, definitely I want in there somewhere, because again both of them have worked really hard to get there. But yeah, it's that show, and even that's had trouble because the showrunner has left now, and has said that there's all these issues where they weren't going to give him money and they weren't going to pay him to do it. And it is a very odd, when you think how well the Marvel world of films are going, and that how critically acclaimed the TV series of Daredevil was. It's almost like Marvel were a bit unsure of whether it would hit. And maybe the success or failings of the Ben Affleck one played into that a little bit.
Yeah.
Where they kind of underestimated.
But then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter were generally well received as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not perfect by any stretch, but they are entertaining.
See, I would say Daredevil is.
Well, Daredevil's been, you said, that was different, partly for the reasons you said. A, you've got the Affleck one, which has still left a lot of people going, Daredevil. A lot of people don't follow the comic book, should I say. It's sort of the wider public who probably aren't into the Daredevil books and don't know the character as well as your Spider-Man and X-Men.
Yeah.
But it was also on Netflix, which, although it's got form, so to speak, with things like Breaking Bad, it's not available to a massive audience.
No.
It's a subscription service. So you've not cut out a chunk of your potential audience as such, but I can't think of a better way to put it.
Yeah.
So you've obviously got the risk there where some of the risk is assumed by Netflix.
Yeah.
By backing it, which is perhaps where it should be.
Yeah.
And obviously now it's taken off, but the roots of the problem between the film and the TV divisions seem to be established now.
Yeah.
And as somebody put in the article you sent me, the TV shows will bounce off the films.
Yeah.
But the films are never going to bounce off the TV shows.
No. But, we will see. I mean, Netflix are producing the other 3 Marvel series. So I would like the fact, because I said last time that I wanted them all on one service, and that will be beneficial for the fans as much as anything else. So that's all good. But we will have to see how it goes.
Because that's the problem we've had with Agent Carter. It's not available in the UK.
I mean, I don't want to pirate it, but I'm in a position where I haven't got a choice now. If I want to see it, that's the only option for me.
Saying that in the next probably couple of weeks, they'll have a decision on whether to make a second series.
Yeah.
Because they had to put a handwritten sign on the queue for the Hayley Atwell signature at a Comic-Con saying FAQ. They basically wrote it out saying, well, no, in the next 2 or 3 weeks, but fan reactions are positive, sort of hopeful sort of thing. Just like, please stop asking Hayley Atwell if Agent Carter will come back.
So, Spider-Man.
Yes.
We've talked a bit. We've had a shortlist of potential Peter. Well, it's not an official shortlist. This seems to be the. Jeff Schneider from the Wrap who said that these are the official list. So who have we got? Run through it.
Nat Wolff, Asa Butterfield, Tom Holland, Timothy Chalamet, and Liam James.
So, well, they're all so amazingly well known.
But shall I run through what they were in?
Well, I know one of them.
Okay. Well, Liam James apparently is best known for playing young Sean Spencer on USA's Psych.
Mm-hmm.
Timothy Chalamet is a relative newcomer who is best known for playing the teenage version of Cooper's son, Tom, in Interstellar.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Interstellar, but okay, that's...
He's in it.
Yep.
I can verify that is correct.
Tom Holland starred in 2012 tsunami drama The Impossible. Asa Butterfield is the biggest name on the list, and he is best known for starring in Ender's Game.
Which is the one that I know, because he's a very good actor.
And was in Ender's Game, which is probably the biggest of all these things.
I
Interstellar,
like that. Have you seen Ender's Game?
I haven't yet, no.
It's very good. Stop watching it after the big thing happens.
Okay. And Nat Wolff turned in a terrific performance as the broken-hearted, visually impaired Isaac in The Fault in Our Stars.
But all in all, they're all looking about 14.
Yes.
Which fit with a lot of what we'd heard that they wanted to do a young teenage Peter Parker. Because a lot of times he's played by somebody in their 20s.
He is. And the early Spider-Man stuff was end high school, moving on to college rather than already in college.
And that's something I'm quite excited about, because I don't want to see college era angsty Spider-Man. I want to see a proper thinks he's clever teenage Spider-Man. That's what Spider-Man was when he met the Avengers. He was this kind of like punk kid who just got in the way sometimes and then eventually got co-opted in by Fury. So I like the choice to go for. I would love to see the lad from Ender's Game get it. But I think the first lad that goes in Psych looks... If you look at the pictures they've chosen, he's the one who looks like a Peter Parker to me.
Yeah.
But, we will see. Again, when they announced Andrew Garfield, we talked earlier, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, they both hadn't really made huge waves.
No, I mean, Tobey Maguire had done more serious-y type thing. He'd never really done anything like Spider-Man at that point. No.
I'm still trying to remember the name of the film that I saw Andrew Garfield in with the clones. But it was very good. It had Keira Knightley in it as well. He was very, very good in that. And that was the film that made me realise he would be a perfect Peter Parker. Because he was an angsty teen in a school. And he was just like, yeah, that's what we need. So, that's quite exciting to know that there's some very good little...
Yeah, and as you said, it does tie in with Spider-Man's original dealings with the Avengers. Yeah. Because he was brought in, then Captain America kind of turned him away because he didn't fit with the group, and then eventually in the comics he does become a more full member of
and also, this age fits... with my issue, saying that, well, where was Spider-Man during Battle New York? Well, at that age,
he was at school.
He was 3 years previous. He wouldn't have been bitten at that point. So that makes it fairer as well, to sit there and go, well, it wasn't a Spider-Man, so that's all good. Now, I've got 2 bits of news about DVD Blu-ray releases.
Yes.
Days of Future Past.
Yes.
We are getting the Rogue cut.
Yes.
Which I'm very excited about, because I was annoyed when that didn't happen at the cinema. I'd read about it, they'd shot the scenes with Anna Paquin, and she is in it for all of 10 seconds towards the end. Which seemed gutting, really, for the fact that she is a very essential character to Wolverine's story. I mean, I think he was the one who found her first in the very, very first X-Men film, was he?
In First Class, or in the original?
No, in the very original Bryan Singer one. I'm pretty sure she was the one he bumps into.
Yes.
So
there was certainly a strong story-based relationship.
And he was always he had like a paternal instinct towards her. So, as much as he had his Jean Grey things, Rogue is also
important to his storyline.
And to take all of that stuff out is quite a big deal. And I've read a lot into it, and there's a lot of differences between the 2 cuts of the film. The Blu-ray will only have the Rogue cut on. So if you want both versions, you will have to buy 2 copies of the Blu-ray. And the extras will be Rogue cut centralised, which I think is okay. I do like it when a film's brave enough to go, look, if you want to buy the extended different version, here it is. If you don't, there's that version. Rather than say, well, okay, we'll give you that plus the old version as well, which makes you annoyed because you bought that at launch. Because I kind of want it so I don't feel like I've had to re-buy 90% of it again. So if it comes out and it's like 12 quid on Blu-ray, I'll be very happy.
If it's 12 quid on Blu-ray.
Well,
it will be eventually.
Yeah. Well, some of them do. Automata with Antonio Banderas is listed as the Blu-ray release. It's only £10 on Amazon. So it does look like prices can come down very soon. But we're also getting, already announced, an extended cut of Age of Ultron.
With an alternate ending.
Which makes me wonder whether the alternate ending is going to be in the cut or just on the disc.
Yeah.
But it also makes me wonder, because there's a lot of scope for what that alternate ending could be.
There is.
Because there's things that could change that happen.
And again, we don't want to spoil it for anyone. So.
Or there's bits that could be added on that do something else.
Yeah. I mean, Joss Whedon said his original cut of the film was over 3 hours. So you could easily add... That's where your 20 minutes could come quite easily as like a director's cut thing.
And it could be that the flashback stuff is extended a bit. Because we didn't see flashbacks for everybody.
No.
And
as we said, a couple of them we felt could have been expanded further or given more room to...
I don't want extra action sequences.
No.
I want it to flesh out
and I doubt
the story.
That's where the majority of the add-ins will come.
I'd like half an hour of James Spader just reading. And your missus would really like to have him sing the full Pinocchio song. That's what she desperately wanted in the film. Was very disappointed about. My partner didn't like Ultron as much as the original Avengers because Loki wasn't in it. Huh. She went, it has got Tom Hiddleston, so it's not as good a film. Stupid women.
Yeah. Can't win them all.
Letting a man win you over. Oh, it hasn't got a Disney song in it. Oh, it hasn't got Tom Hiddleston in it. Oh, boo-hoo. Yeah. Go home and have your things that men have as well, because I'm a progressive male. I'm not very good at being sexist. I found this out today. I was trying to basically put my partner down a little bit, because she said something that offended me.
Right.
Basically called me useless.
Right.
And I went, well, I'm more use than you with your multifaceted business sense. So I just couldn't insult her. So, I seem very good at annoying blokes. But I have an angry ex, so I obviously am good at it. But it's not when I'm trying. So that is all of the Marvel news. Yes. Quite a lot of Marvel news this week.
Yeah.
It's almost like there was a film out.
You'd think.
Right, Marvel games. Now, we're going to talk in a minute about Marvel games that we'd love to see. But before we do, I'm just going to jump slightly ahead and mention Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Okay.
Have you ever played Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
I have not.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, in my mind, are very overdue a re-release. The second one, all the DLC was pulled from Marketplace.
Right.
And the discs were all recalled.
Okay.
Because Activision lost the license. Or somebody, I think it was Activision did it, lost the license.
Okay.
So they weren't willing to pay the huge amount of money that was going to be for the Marvel license. Now the films are doing well.
Yep.
So if you want a copy of Ultimate Alliance 2 on the Xbox 360, sometimes even second hand it's £40.
Yeah.
It's desirable. It's set during Civil War. And as the films get more popular, these games are more desirable.
Yeah, especially the Civil War film game.
Yeah, they are 2-player, same console co-op, and it's like almost like not top-down, but isometric scrolling brawler, with a cast of like 20-30 characters in each game. They're perfect Marvel games, but they didn't do any more, and they're really hard to get on.
See, they're ones I never picked up, even though they're things I should have loved.
Yeah.
You know, I loved Streets of Rage when I was younger.
Yeah.
It's been perfect. I just never picked it up. But then, as you said, they disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance was on the PS2. And I played it on the PS2, and then when I got my 360, I immediately bought it on 360 as well, because I was like, of course I want this. Yeah. It's very similar to, if you've seen the online free-to-play Marvel Legends.
Yes.
Plays very similar to that. But yeah, they were great. I can't even remember the storyline of the first one. I think it was Doctor Doom who was up to no good.
I have a feeling you're right from what I remember of it.
And the opening intro movie, when that happened, we hadn't had the Marvel Universe films. I wanted that opening movie to be every Marvel film ever. Yeah. It was CGI, but it was CGI that I'd never seen Marvel do before. I will show you it when we finish recording, and I will find the games out and lend you them, because they are definitely worth going through.
Yeah, for sure.
And coming back to. But yeah, it's so if anybody's listening, and you've got these in a cupboard and you haven't played them, or if you have got them and you've got friends who haven't, share the love, because they are now all the more kind of relevant than they ever were. But because they're a bit older, a lot of people have ignored them. So, in regards to Marvel games we'd love to see, Ultimate Alliance 3, please, Rob. I'd like the Infinity Saga as an Ultimate Alliance game, not as the Spider-Man friend or foe game, which they did, which was a kiddie... Actually, no, that wasn't the Infinity Stones. That was the Superhero Squad when they did the game for that. That was the Infinity Saga. But I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a new, really good Marvel beat-em-up game. Like, do you remember there was that side-scrolling one that was like the Dungeons and Dragons side-scrolling arcade game?
Right.
A bit like Streets of Rage.
Okay.
I want that. They did one of those and it had like characters were like half the screen in size.
Yeah.
They were amazing. I can't remember what the game was. But there was that. That was very good. What about you? If you could have any like Marvel IP as a game...
So there's a lot of scope you could do with Guardians.
Yep.
Because it's, as you said earlier on, because it's so out there in the universe, you could go all these different places and you could be as far out as you wanted to be. Because you can explain it away by going, it's in space.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of scope there, especially again with the co-op elements. So you could have one person as Star-Lord, one as Drax.
Yeah.
Or Rocket Raccoon and Groot.
I mean, at the moment,
play
we've
it
got
different ways.
Disney
You can even have
Infinity
up to-
2.0, but it's not enough. It's just a very basic family game. It could do.
And that's the
but
thing,
it
that's
could be
more
bit
of
darker
a
as well.
family-orientated affair.
Yeah. Did you ever play the X-Men Origins Wolverine game?
On the original Xbox?
No, that was Wolverine. This was...
Then
Origins
no.
Wolverine.
I played a Wolverine game on the
I
original
think
Xbox.
that was X2, I think, might have been our last time.
Maybe.
It was
tied in with one of the films.
Yeah. Well, the Origins one was tied in with the Origins film,
Mm-hmm.
but instead they went for when Wolverine was working as part of the unit.
Right.
And he was sent into war-torn areas, and it was an 18-rated game. And Wolverine was 18-rated Wolverine. And he got shot with shells, and his body would shred apart.
Yeah.
You see his skeleton, it would all grow back. And he would slice people up, he'd chop their arms and heads off. It was proper Wolverine.
Yeah.
And again, another Marvel game that went under everyone's radar, because it was a movie tie-in, and they're always shit.
Yep.
And it didn't do very well on sale,
See, that's-
because it was an 18-rated game, so people didn't buy it for their kids, so it didn't jump up the charts.
Yeah.
But again, it's a must-have.
So that's
game.
one thing I remember going back to the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
I think it was just called The Amazing Spider-Man
Yes.
on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant. It was one of the best games on the Dreamcast. And I've not really played a Spider-Man game like that since.
No.
And I remember lamenting it on Twitter one day, saying, I wish they had something like that now. Because obviously the way it was done in a cartoony style,
Yeah.
but you've then got modern power.
Yeah.
So you can, especially the bits where he's swinging around the city, you can open it up even more than they did on the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
And somebody jumped in and said, well, they had that. It was the Amazing Spider-Man 2 game. And it's like, to be fair, I completely ignored that because it was a movie tie-in.
Yeah.
But a few other people sort of chimed in as well. So no, actually, the game was probably better than the film.
The people who make the more recent Spider-Man is a company called Beanox, and they absolutely nailed making an open-world Spider-Man game. Really, really good. They also did... there was also a game called Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which a lot of people again ignored because it was a Marvel tie-in. And again, I think they just think that if it's got Spider-Man, it's obviously movie related, therefore shit. This had Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man 2099, regular Spider-Man, and something else, which is going to elude me. But basically, there was something that happened that fragmented them all.
Yeah.
So you played a level of Spider-Man, which was all this like black and white, stealthy play, and then you'd have these 2099 sections. But what you do is, in the past, you'd blow up a building, which then it would jump back to 2099, you'd swing through the gap where the building used to be. There was this whole thing with time travel. It was brilliant. A really, really good, well-made game. Some of the gameplay elements weren't perfect, but from a storytelling point of view, again, nailed it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Maybe it's not games we want to see. Maybe it's just go out and play the games that do exist that people just ignored. Because I can't think of a bad Marvel game I've ever played.
See, I've missed a lot of them, and I kind of lament it sometimes. I wish I played the Iron Man game.
Yeah?
Even though you kind of know it's going to be on rails and just follow the film, I still kind of like to give that a go.
It didn't follow the film. And the Captain America game on the 360 was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was as good as... Well, as good as... It was very similar to Batman Arkham Asylum. It was set during World War II.
Yeah.
And it was... brilliant. A lot of what they do with the Marvel games... They definitely did it with the Spider-Man ones. Is they don't tell the events of the film. That's where a lot of tie-ins go wrong.
Yeah.
They try and make a film work as a game. So the first Spider-Man game was a sequel, and it had the Lizard trying to help Spider-Man stop something else happening. The Spider-Man 2, I think that was a sequel as well, which sort of followed on events and had different characters working as part of it. Iron Man was different characters. That was the Crimson Dynamo
Right,
was
okay.
the main bag I
So
believe.
I naturally
In that
fell into
one,
the
or
trap
the
where
second
I
one, there's one or
thought it
two.
just followed. And so again, I'm just
No,
like, well,
and again, and that's the thing. Like, as a fan of the comics,
yeah,
they can go with the more obscure characters, and it doesn't matter to us because they're not going to sell that to a Hollywood audience. They've got to say to somebody who is probably nerdy enough to have bought a movie game anyway.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of kind of flying combat. But yeah, Crimson Dynamo was one of the villains. I can't remember if that was Iron Man 1 or 2. But again, they were all right games. You ran through them in about 6 hours. You'd finished it. You had your experience.
Yeah.
Again, I've got most of them, so you're very welcome to go through and play them.
I think I might have to.
But yeah, that's the thing. Like you say, people avoid them because they think, oh, movie time's the shit. But I think Batman Arkham Asylum was the game that changed that. Because though it wasn't a tie with the films, it was a licensed game.
With the superhero game.
Yeah, which kind of opened up the floodgates a little bit for people going,
Actually, these are quite good.
that's not based on a film or directly on a comic book. And then a lot of companies just went, actually, yeah, go make the game you want to make. And if it's good, then we'll get it out. As I say, they're not perfect, but they flesh out a world a little bit more. So yeah, I'd like to see that. I would love to see if I was to create any new IP, I'd love to see something on the scale of Lego Marvel superheroes.
Yep.
But as a big open world, all Marvel universe game. Like just have all of New York rebuilt, like GTA 4. But imagine every Marvel superhero that's resident being there, interactive.
Yeah.
That would be phenomenal. And they could do it.
Yeah.
And the licensing would allow it as well, because the movie rights are with different people, but the actual characters, they can do it like. So I'd like to see something like that. But we will see. We've got the Lego Avengers later this year.
Yep.
So that will be, again, in that ilk. But I just want it to look like GTA 5. Well, yeah, because GTA 5 on PC is a phenomenal looking game. If they can get that sort of visual, but with a Marvel superhero thing. Almost like that, what was it called? The superhero online game. There was a heroes one and a villains one. You kind of created your own superhero. It was just City of Heroes, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
City of Heroes and City of Villains. Something like that. Just a big thing where I can exist. But, yeah, as it is, it's a good time to be a Marvel fan. And like I said, I will dig those out. So let's round this up.
Yep.
Unless you've got anything else you need to jump in with.
Nope.
No. So thank you very much for joining us for our Marvel special.
Yeah.
Hopefully it was marvellous.
Huh?
You don't think that we've deceived you.
Well, and the internet's mightiest heroes combine.
I'm sorry that Rob didn't win the crown, but
No.
you know, that's his fault. He should have boned up.
Should have watched more.
instead
Should have watched more porn before I came over.
Well, actually, it was you guessed more porn stars were porn stars than you did heroes were
Yeah, that's
heroes.
true.
So you should have read more comic books.
Maybe.
Wanker. So, yeah.
No pun intended.
Rate and review us on iTunes or Stitcher or anywhere else you found us. Tell your friends to listen, or when you're on a bus, be one of those obnoxious twats that plays things through their phone.
Yep.
But play this bit where we're calling you an obnoxious twat, because then the people on the bus will think that we're the cool kids.
Yeah.
And you're still obnoxious, but because you've accepted the fact, because you haven't paused this yet, people think you're okay again. And then they'll probably buy you like a Coke or something at the tube station when you all get off the train.
Yep.
So that's good. So do that. But probably wait until your next bus trip and play right from the beginning as well. You can tweet us at We're the Holocaust, with a letter R.
Yep.
You can follow me at BouncyBall with an H after second B.
And me at Rob McGregor 35.
Although, you know, they're not done anything for this show, you can follow Mark and Dalek at XBLA Silicam and at The Voice of Sex.
Yep.
And you can also find articles and trailers and reviews and things on holocaust.co.uk or Tumblr.
Yep. We are thelolocaust.tumblr.com.
.tumblr.net. I want .net. Can we have .net as well?
I don't know if they do that.
Oh, I'd like that. Anyway, we will see you on Friday/Saturday, pending the world ending,
Yep.
for episode 17. So thank you very much. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Excelsior! Did a Marvel thing.